Hello everyone. I'm sure you've all seen the thumbnail. As I said in the thumbnail, this is a channel that talks about how to study in the United States. Can an ordinary person go to study in the United States? With this topic, I want to talk about studying in the United States. That's why I made this YouTube channel. To be able to talk about this, I would have to have studied abroad, right? Yes, I studied in the US. And I finished my PhD in the US and I'm living in the US now. So the reason why I started a YouTube channel like this, because when I was dreaming of studying in the United States, I didn't have a lot of people around me that I could talk to about this. So now that I'm in this position, to share my experience and know-how with the younger generation, that's why I started this YouTube channel. So what's the main topic of this YouTube channel? It's about how to get into the US. It's about know-how. How can the average person maximize their competitive ability to get into a good school in the US? That's what I'm going to be talking about. The main targeting audience of this channel are the people who are preparing to study in the US. Let's get started the main message.
The main subscribers of this channel, as I expect, are those who are preparing to study abroad in the United States, of course. However, I also want to give some courage to those who think they are ordinary. Actually, because I am not that intelligent, you know. Nah, I simply think I am pretty average, you know. That's just how I perceive myself, you know. Nevertheless, in this very moment, I find myself here in the United States, possessing a PhD degree and being employed by a substantial company of considerable size. So when I look back on the path I've walked, I just thought I was lucky, because an ordinary person like me ended up in the United States. I believed I was fortunate when I selected this route to pursue my studies overseas at a reputable educational institution and be employed by a large corporation such as this in the United States. In hindsight, it wasn't luck, even if there's a reason. Everything happens for a reason in this world, you know. So that is the reason why I was able to successfully accomplish and finish my study abroad program. If you could share a little, it would be really helpful. Especially for those who are preparing to study abroad, to those who think they are ordinary. In fact, when you think about it, you are really smart. I am really good at studying. Individuals who believe that our residence possesses a substantial amount of wealth in reality do not require to monitor my channel. In fact, those individuals have the option to continue with their previous activities. However, the motive behind my initiation of this channel is that I desire to provide assistance. This is due to the fact that I used to be an average person, and because average individuals like myself. Can I go to study abroad in the United States? This was a question that was always in my mind when I was preparing for studying abroad, so that's why I started this. These days, individuals often discuss topics such as I'm from a wealthy family or I'm from a poor family. However, to be honest, dividing people based on their financial situation using these terms is truly unfair and oversimplifies the complexity of individual circumstances and experiences. I believe it is an error, not favorable, correct? However, I do not employ those terms when addressing others. Nevertheless, considering that you all utilize it frequently and it is extensively employed globally, when I observe myself utilizing that phrase, I do not consider myself to be extremely privileged either. However, I certainly was not born into a wealthy family. Based on my observations, I was simply an average, ordinary commoner. The topic at hand is people like this. I had a friend in my youth who acted as an older brother to me. During my early years, my mother left home and my father became addicted to alcohol, rendering him unable to work and causing him to spend all his time drinking. This person had to begin working right after finishing middle school and completing their studies. Studying was a luxury to this person. When I hear dirt spoon, it seems like people talk about people like them. When you say gold spoon, this person is also a brother I met in the US. I met this brother in my late 20s, and he was 1 year older than me. He must have been in his late 20s or around 30. At that age, he was driving a top-of-the-line Mercedes-Benz model and living in a luxury apartment complex in downtown of a major US city, the kind of apartment that is known for being where celebrities live. No, I'm not renting. I'm buying it myself. Of course, it's not my own money. My parents must have bought it for me. They bought me a car, a house, and even the land underneath. I went to their house for a visit and they had a wine cellar. They brought out some wine for me, but it wasn't just any cheap wine. You know, it was one of those famous wines that have been aged for about 20 years. They brought out that kind of wine for me. Those individuals are the gold spoon, and I'm not a black spoon or a gold spoon. I am simply a very ordinary commoner. However, surprisingly, someone like me ended up pursuing education overseas in the United States. Therefore, I would like to share some advice with all of you and hopefully provide you with hope and assistance. When I reflect on my journey, there are three primary factors that enabled me to go to the United States. The first reason is, continue along the narrow path, broaden your horizons, and please do not misunderstand my intention here. When I mention the word pervert, I am not suggesting that you should become a pervert. Absolutely not, right? In this context, the term pervert refers to embracing your own unique and unconventional path. That is precisely what I mean. Furthermore, the second point I would like to emphasize is the importance of being a human. Be a human, embrace your humanity, and stay true to yourself. I am not endeavoring to have a moral or religious conversation, but rather discussing matters like human relationships in the context of pursuing education in the United States. Furthermore, it is crucial to have the ability to perform tasks that one may not have a preference for. In any case, I will share my knowledge and expertise from these three perspectives. In the inaugural episode of today, I will be discussing exclusively the first reason out of a total of 3 reasons that I will cover throughout the series. Proceed down the narrow road and transform into a peculiar individual. I was endeavoring to communicate this story to you. To get straight to the point, I earned my engineering PhD from one of the top 10 universities in the United States, which is a significant achievement in my academic journey. However, allow me to inform you that my qualifications, if you will, are rather unremarkable. I'm about to recount how I reached my current position. First and foremost, permit me to introduce you to my acquaintance, Elgun. Within my circle of close companions, there exists an individual by the name of Elgun, who possesses an exceptionally distinctive area of study. Curious as to what field of study it is, you inquire. It happens to be toxic substances. I study things like hazardous substances in the human body. So, when this friend does research, they wear protective clothing like a spacesuit that they wear when they go to the moon. They study how those clothes that protect the body have an impact and work well when they come into contact with the hazardous substances that we use in our products. It's a unique field of research. According to this friend, there are less than 100 people in the whole world who have majored in that field that we are living in, this planet. So, if you go to any related academic conference or industry gathering, according to this friend, it's like everyone knows each other. That's the kind of relationship they have. So, this friend has a very unique major, and this friend majored in it in Korea. It is not as if he is a participant in the study abroad trend or anything, but once this friend announced his plan to go to the United States, he was offered a position at one of the top companies there within a period of just 1 or 2 months, or at most 3 months. And it is not as if he simply obtained a job and went. Rather, he was actively recruited by the company, who even covered all of his relocation costs and other expenses. When I first heard this story, it made me sick. I studied abroad in the US and couldn't get into any good companies, you know. The organization I'm presently employed by is a sizable corporation, although it is not the highest ranked company in my industry, which is approximately within the top 10 among large corporations. My friend entered the top leading company in the industry. I was so jealous, but there's a reason for everything. That friend had a unique major and did things others didn't, you know. Same here. Study abroad, dude. From the perspective of grad schools and profs, the process of selecting masters and doctoral students is not about choosing students. Doctoral programs, particularly in engineering, are difficult to perceive solely as students. I'm a researcher. Grad school is a school within a university. It's like a school within a school. So you guys take midterms, finals, submit reports, and graduate, right? You fill up your credits and all that. But it's not like that for the master's and doctoral programs. The classes aren't as many as you think. Most of it is research. You have to do research, write papers, and produce research achievements. That's why you're called researchers. But now the pay for researchers is low. To be precise, that's how it is from the professor's perspective. Seeking talented individuals for research, it's essentially the same. Criteria for selecting company and person are important, but attending grad school, if from prestigious university, excellent grades, and good resume, is advantageous. However, the perspective I'm discussing now is, I would like to discuss how an average individual requires something unique in order to gain admission to a prestigious university. That friend of mine in particular had unique expertise, so they got a good job. Well, let me tell you my story. My major is, I'm a mechanical engineer. I studied mechanical engineering in college. Many around me who studied mechanical engineering end up working for car companies, you know. A great deal. Isn't that right? Well, you see, mechanical engineering is entirely focused on designing tangible objects, such as automobiles, motors, and vessels. It revolves around ensuring their safety. However, as for me, I am actually a relatively insignificant participant in that particular domain. Do you know why? It is because I have dedicated a significant amount of time to studying computer programming. Most people who graduate from the Department of Mechanical Engineering don't really do a lot of computer programming. Of course, in the first year of engineering, you learn basic programming, but it's not as in-depth as computer science. However, in my situation, upon completing my undergraduate program in mechanical engineering, I opted to enroll in only the required number of credits for the mechanical engineering major. Just do the bare minimum, and that's it. You can take electives or something like that for your GPA, you know. But instead of enrolling in liberal arts courses, I opted to take a plethora of computer science classes. Well, you see, it's not easy for friends who have graduated from mechanical engineering to be good at computer programming languages. This is completely the opposite, you know. Because mechanical engineering is the discipline that forms the vertices of something that is physically visible through the eyes of hardware devices, which can be observed and analyzed. Information technology, particularly software, deals with things that are not visible, you know? It is truly different from other things. I, on the other hand, studied things that are visible in a major that emphasizes dealing with things that are visible. I pursued a very unique path. You could say it is a bit narrow, a bit kinky. You know what I mean? My secret to success, you know? If you're wondering who said something similar, hey all, if you've heard Steve Jobs, he used to say, Google it all. I have mentioned something along those lines in the past. It is of utmost importance to establish a connection between 2 points that pose a challenge in terms of their connection with each other. I said something like that, you know, when you see Steve Jobs' life, that friend of mine, from what I know, started college. At first, the department of a university was kind of artsy. You know, there's a font called calligraphy. I attended a specialized college to study fonts. Additionally, I ended up dropping out of the college. After withdrawing, I intend to initiate my personal computer enterprise, you know. Computers producing computers, things like electronic engineering. Art, calligraphy is actually a very distant thing, you know. 2 points that cannot be connected. That's what connects them. That's why they made a very beautiful computer called Apple Computer and succeeded. It's the same. You have to connect 2 points that cannot be connected. The 2 points that I connected were the visible ones. The ones that are important in mechanical engineering and the ones that are not visible. I misplaced the epitome of software engineering that regards it as significant, so I wasn't truly proficient in either. In fact, in comparison to my peers who solely studied mechanical engineering, I wasn't particularly skilled in mechanical engineering. When it comes to computer engineering, I wasn't as proficient as someone who specialized exclusively in computers. However, my advantage was that I had a basic understanding of both computers and mechanical engineering. This has been a game changer in my life. Few have this kind of spec. Seriously, it's absent. It is exceedingly rare and exceptionally unique background. Consequently, the professors who displayed a genuine interest in me were predominantly those specializing in software design for mechanical engineering, specifically in the realm of designing cars or other machinery, as well as those involved in evaluating the safety of mechanical devices using simulation software tools. Professors who specialize in this kind of thing really coveted it, and when I actually went to graduate school, it was really difficult to find someone like that, because there were a lot of people who were good at mechanical engineering, and there were a lot of people who were good at computer science. But there were really no people who could do a little bit of both and express it as a computer program. It's a very narrow path. This was the secret to my success in life, you know? In my 4th year, what did I mainly do? I roughly checked my grades and realized I had almost fulfilled the mechanical engineering credits. Since it was my 4th year, I focused on taking the necessary mechanical engineering credits for graduation and took all the remaining classes in computer engineering. In my 4th year, both computer engineering and mechanical engineering were in their 4th year. It's hard to keep up with 4th year classes in the computer science department, so I started with lower level classes in computer science and gradually took 4th year classes in mechanical engineering. So after graduating, I became someone with this background. When it comes to majoring in mechanical engineering, I'd say I understand about 80% of it, just an average person. This person, who majored in computer science at the same time, has about 30 to 40% of the ability to keep up with programming skills. I ended up with this type of background, so I became someone who possesses the capability to develop software that is required in the field of mechanical engineering. So, individuals who major in computer science are unable to create programs that are utilized in the field of mechanical engineering. Because, I'm good at programming, but my understanding of mechanical engineering is lacking. And most friends in mech engineering can't code. So having a background like mine was highly sought after. Therefore, there were numerous professors attempting to recruit me in graduate school, in American graduate school. You know what I mean, right? A narrow path like this, it's really important to walk your own path.
So, that's the first part of the story. The rest of the story is in the next episode. So please stay tuned. So, if you're interested in studying abroad in US, please subscribe to my channel. I'd love it if you could hit that subscribe button. I'd also appreciate a like. So that's it for episode 1 for US study today. I'll be uploading part 2 soon, so stay tuned.